Well, that actually creates an opportunity at the same
Abs-
time. It creates an opportunity for one of those offices in that community to go, you know what? This is when I'm going to shine and I'm going to grab massive market share because the economy is going to come and go and fluctuate forever. It
Right.
always does. So you're going to live through it because you intend to live through it. But why not, be the one that stands out? Because when the economy turns around, I mean, you're going to explode.
There were so many touch points where they had an opportunity to succeed or fail. And while maybe they didn't fail in all of them, they certainly didn't succeed. They were adequate. And adequate doesn't cut $5,000. It
No,
just doesn't. Adequate doesn't make up for $50. There's no reason for us to be adequate. There's every reason for us to be exceptional.
Welcome, everybody, to the Walker Kreative Podcast. In this episode, we're going to be talking about veterinary marketing and everything like in the veterinary industry that we can help you as veterinarians. Now, this podcast will be helpful to anybody that owns a private practice where you're the owner operator. And of course, one of your key, needs is new leads. And so we're going to be talking about veterinary world stuff. But this could help a dentist, this could help an optometrist, an orthodontist, anybody with that type of organization. That being said, I want to welcome our guest, Robin Brogdon. This woman is amazing. I've heard her speak live for an hour about the front office and public relations and marketing related to a veterinary practice. She is a specialist when it comes to working with vet practices that are like emergency surgery specialist type practices, cancer offices, this type of thing. She's been in this industry for 30 years plus. I'm sure she can give us some details about her history and all that. She's over on the West Coast in Huntington Beach in Southern California, and I am over here on the East Coast in the Tampa Bay area. But today we're going to have a great show for you, and especially if you're a veterinarian or work in a vet practice, man, this is going to have a lot of insights and useful stuff for you. All right, welcome to the show.
Oh, well, thank you for that kind intro. And hey, we may be on opposite coasts, but we have the same goal, and that's to help our animal health and other clients take care of their patients a little bit better. And if we can do that as business consultants and marketing professionals, hey, the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
Completely. And when you spoke live at the Vet Partners, and for everybody, we're both members of Vet Partners, a national organization that is an industry organization to the sole purpose to help the veterinary profession from every aspect to be great, to do better medicine, and to do better business organization so we thrive. And then, of course, help all the families and the pet owners and the pets. So we have that in common. And I was at the Vet Partners Conference in Las Vegas with Robin, and she spoke. And her talk there was specifically about sort of and she can probably clarify a little bit, but it was all about how we operate in our clinics to be the best we can be. And without having to invest money in marketing and advertising, how do we create a great clinic that just generates energy in and of itself from within so that we are the choice always for our loyal community around us? And the points she brought up were amazing. And so I want to talk about that. And of course, from my side, of course, I run Walker Kreative, a digital marketing agency that does websites and videos and advertising and all that for practices. And so the combination of the stuff that Robin talks about and then stuff that my team does for practices, I think I can say this for both of us, that would lead to an unbeatable practice that would certainly thrive.
Well, you said it a lot nicer than I did. I can be a little bit of a tough love speaker where the title of my talk was, Why Do We Consistently Fail at Delivering an Exceptional Client Experience? And, as someone who works almost exclusively with specialty and emergency practices where things cost a lot more money and where pet owners are always stressed. I mean, nobody goes to an ER or a specialty hospital unless their animal is sick. And so we have to do better at how we present ourselves, because we may only have one time or one opportunity to engage with that client, whereas hopefully a primary care practitioner, if they do a nice job on that first visit, they get the lifetime value of that client as well as referrals and other ancillary business they might get to provide for that family and their pets. So I really talked about most practices' inability to knock it out of the park. They often go through the motions, and part of this I think is a little bit of post-COVID. Um, what's the word? Uh,
Like a fallout from
yeah,
almost like I feel like we got, it's not fair to say lazy, but I think we had throughout the industry such an immense amount of business created because people were at home, they were buying a lot of pets and they were needing service and help for those pets. And COVID created that, especially in the vet industry. And it became easy to put less attention on marketing because there was just so much activity.
right. Well, you make a good point. I heard consistently during that time, I don't need to market. I'm already busy. Where what a lot of businesses don't understand is that marketing isn't just about creating a pipeline. We certainly want to have a continuous pipeline of new potential clients, but we need to keep them and we need to continue to provide value, which means we need to educate, we need to engage, we need to inform, we need to alert. And if you're only hearing from your veterinarian once or twice a year, it feels like they only want me to come in to spend money as opposed to help me be a better pet parent. And so not everybody is going to be interested in every newsletter topic or, every text, but I think we need to not only do a better job of staying connected in between visits, but because we communicate so much differently nowadays than we used to. I mean, used to be you only had a telephone. Now we have text and chat and, so many other ways, self-checkout at the grocery store, all these things. We have so many fewer opportunities to have face-to-face conversations that we have to deliver and provide as much value and memorability as we can during those engagements. And I think, one of the things I noticed is really since COVID, there is, and it's certainly, I'm generalizing here, it's certainly not every CSR or front desk, but there's a lot of expecting the client to be a jerk because a lot of clients are not as kind as we would like them to be. And so there's a bit of a shield up, and we sort of wait or expect or protect ourselves with this shield. And what that prohibits us from doing is really authentically connecting and and developing a trusted relationship with that client, because we know compliance comes from trust. So if we aren't using someone's name and if we aren't recognizing the proper sex for their pet and we aren't making suggestions for, oh, I see that, when you were here last time, the doctor talked about um, having a complete dental exam with x-rays, it is now a good time to schedule that. If we aren't prompting them and engaging with them in a way that truly provides benefit.
And we know them. We show that we care because we
Right.
clearly know them.
Exactly. I landed in veterinary medicine by accident over 25 years ago. My first career was in sports marketing. Go Blue, University of Michigan Wolverine here. I can't get through a podcast without doing that, especially for my Ohio State and Michigan State DVMs. I had to put that in there. But my husband and I had adopted our first dog, free dog in the penny saver. Moving, can't take.
Oh,
Was
wow.
a 7-year-old mutt. He was probably black lab, golden retriever. I don't know what. He was very cute. He was not very smart, but he was very lovable. His name was Super, like Superman. And Super was diagnosed by our primary care veterinarian with lymphoma. And she referred us to a veterinary oncologist. And 25 years ago, I said, oh, what? I had no idea they
That
existed.
exists in veterinary. Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of people today still don't know specialists exist, but he was one of those sad statistics that even though most lymphoma cases caught early do go into remission, he didn't.
Okay.
And he passed away very soon after. And 5 days after he died, that oncologist hired me to run her multi-site oncology practice out here in Southern California. Many jumps later, I launched Blueprints Veterinary Marketing Group, actually over 18 years ago now. And we really are what most people would refer to as a traditional ad agency. We do the branding, the strategy, the logos, all the visual aspects of the brand, um, as well as everything from trade show booths to printed materials to websites, digital, that whole aspect. So the whole umbrella, but we do it almost exclusively for specialty and emergency practices, as well as animal health industry. And so, our goal really is to help them solve problems. And I think there are a lot of things happening within the field that are not widely recognized that I know we're going to talk about here in terms of visits and things like that really need to be brought to the forefront so that we can really help our clients solve their problems.
100%. Now, I want to before I jump away from it because I know you touched on it is one way to bring that loyalty and to not just the reminder. Of course, we want to send out newsletters and stuff, but we don't want to just talk to our clients when we need them and when we're trying to get them in. We want to keep that communication level high. And of course, today, one way we can do that is, and we talked about it before, you and I, about how you can do videos, you can do educational content. And of course, my company can shoot really high-level premium videos, but that isn't required all the time if you wanted to do like a weekly or a monthly video. And I thought just for our viewers, we could share quickly. I'm going to share my screen and just give a sense of what I'm talking about.
Great.
When a veterinary practice takes it upon themselves, and in this case, this client, an amazing client of ours, said, Cebron, I'd like to do more educational content beyond when, we went out there and shot a bunch of videos. So what can I do on our own so that we can keep it going? And this is a clinic up in Illinois. And if we look quickly here, you can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay. And I hope that everybody viewing our podcast today is also able to see this.
Oh, look at those cute pups.
So this is Countryside Vet Service, right? And if we go to their YouTube channel, we put together for them. So we put this channel together for them. And of course, there's really professional testimonials and all this. We shot all those for them. But then you get to some cute things, which are just, for example, this.
The offering. So
Now,
depending on which package you select, depends on the number.
This is Dr. Stacy, and she wanted to do something about wellness plans, and which is a great way to, we've talked about this too, but bundle services so that you certainly give the apparency of like, we're doing this to save you money, right? And you want to create this fear of missing out. Like by bundling it, we don't want them to miss out on this incredible savings, because at the end of the year, maybe $1,000 or $2,000 is saved because they've bought a wellness plan. And so this Dr. Stacy said, well, I want to shoot this on my own. She's wearing a lapel microphone you can buy on Amazon for $29. The video is being shot on her phone, and one of her staff is holding the phone. It is literally just go into a quiet office, and here she is talking.
Of tests that we provide. But I'm going to go over all of the tests in great detail so that you know what they are from top to bottom. And then if you're interested in one of these, most of the major are they do.
So you can see it's 2 minutes and 38 seconds, and she's just sharing all the information about her wellness plans. It's not massive, but 274 views. People are seeing it. Clients can be sent out in a newsletter. We have another one that they did for Easter. So that's when dressed up as the Easter bunny. And so right before Easter, they videoed this on their phones, put it on their YouTube channel. Look at this, over 5,000 views. Super cute, great for branding, great for community PR, all these things of value that they're sharing on their own beyond the professional marketing stuff.
Right.
So wonderful stuff. Just wanted to share that because I had a conversation with Dr. Jeff in Oklahoma, in Marlow, Oklahoma. Great practice, Hammond Veterinary Hospital. And he was saying, like, what could I do? What else could I do? Cebron, tell me what to do to help me improve my marketing. And I said, well, one thing you could do is just do some more educational stuff for your community. They do farm animals, they do small animals. That's what he can do. So he's going to purchase this stuff. The video package between a microphone, your phone, your device is your camera, right? And a little tripod and a light, probably $100 on Amazon, and you've got a video kit. And now you can do these. And if you've got any marketing person or maybe a teenager can edit them together for you to take out your stumbles. And there you go. Throw it on a YouTube channel. I just wanted to share that because you touched on it. But yes, now, the next thing we really need to touch on for everybody is we went through COVID. We had this massive increase, this massive spike. And this is a conversation I know you and I have both had with veterinarians, is like, what is happening in the industry? Is everybody feeling the pressure, the downward pressure? Is everybody feeling it, or is it just me? I said, I'm telling everybody, it's not just you. COVID gave us all a spike. We had this incredible amount of business, and it sort of lasted through the end of the COVID era. And now the economy's tight on everybody. They don't have the free time they had. They're spending less on their animals. And this downward trend is happening. It's all across the country. It's not just in your vet practice. And I wanted to ask you, Robin, what are you seeing? What are you hearing on that?
I think it is something that everybody needs to be aware of. Yet what I find is most people, I should say most practice owners, are not. And that is, for the last 3+ years, unique patients, unique visits, they are all trending down consistently into 2025. And right now, with the economy very volatile, the economists are not predicting any real positive change to that. Now, a lot of times practice owners aren't aware of that because their revenue has gone up, mostly because of price increases. Understandably, cost of goods are more expensive. But if practices compared year-over-year numbers to unique patients, unique invoices, in general, they are down and have continued to be down now into its 4th year. This has a ripple effect naturally because so many of the urgent cares that opened up as a result of COVID, and rightly so. I mean, there was a huge gap. What do you do with a torn toenail, with an ear infection, with a laceration, when your ER had a 6, 8, 10-hour wait with critical patients, and your GP, Friday night or Sunday was closed? What do you do? So urgent care popped up really as a new model. And what we're finding is many urgent cares are closing. And we know during COVID, a lot of ERs had to reduce their hours. They couldn't staff them overnight any longer. Some have come back, some have not. But what we're seeing is, with the softening of caseload, some GPs are extending hours one night a week. They may even be trying to open half-day Saturday morning. I mean, during COVID, weekends closed, nighttimes closed. We were Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. That's it.
Because it was almost just like overworked. We were just like,
everybody was overworked. Everybody was tired. Everybody enjoyed a little bit of curbside care. And quality of life was something that finally bubbled to the surface as something that was significantly important to the team members.
After 3 years of intensity, it's like, I need a bit of a break.
Totally. But now we're finding GPs are willing to take those urgent care cases that they couldn't take during COVID, that pre-COVID, of course they took. One of your patients was sick, you fit them in. Well, now they're starting to take them again because there's cushion in their schedule. And those overnight ERs, because there are a lot less of them, people are having to travel farther than they may ordinarily have traveled if their pet really is ill or injured, nighttime or weekend, when the ER is not available, and certainly their primary care vet is not available. So I think there is, I kind of want to shake the tree and make everybody know that, they need to be taking action
Yeah.
because the pipeline is not going to reverse itself by itself.
Yeah, I tell you, I mean, as a marketing stable law that I've always found to be true is whoever's getting attention wins. And when you have the well-built website that shares the humanity of your practice and not just stock photography or videos of cute puppies, um, and you are putting out a newsletter once a month. It doesn't have to be crazy, but you have a good website. You're putting out a newsletter once a month. You're sharing on social media with quality posts three times a week. When I say a quality post, it's sharing news about your staff, good news about your clients, good news about
valuable piece of valuable information.
100% value in your social media, not a stock graphic image off of Canva that says, make sure you vaccinate your pet or some kind of, don't forget to brush your dog's teeth or something silly. Because people are scrolling more than ever. They're spending 2.5 hours a day on social media. That's a fact. That's a stat. And why not post something in social media that is going to stop the scroll and is going to be valuable from you to your community. And what's valuable is, look at what you stop on. It's like you celebrate a staff member because they had an anniversary or they had a birthday, or, the doctor, it's a video of the doctor bringing a cake to the office manager because it was her birthday. I mean, that's super cool, super fun, and elevates the doctors because he's celebrating a staff. 100%.
It humanizes the team. I mean, they're just like us. They're pet owners too. Their profession happens to be caring for our animals. So yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's that personal connection. People like to do business with people they know.
Yep.
And even though that whole team may not know that client, if that client feels like they know the whole team,
yes,
well, that's a bonding opportunity right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
I liked your point, in the 2008 recession, we had, we really noticed some significant things. There were a lot of practices that struggled, as did the entire US economy, but we had some practices explode. And people said to me, really? I said, yeah, well-managed, well-run practices opened new offices, expanded their hours, and grew substantially because they consistently did all the things that they're supposed to do, not just when it's busy, not just when it's not busy. It was a consistent approach to communicating their value to primary care veterinarians. I'm thinking in particular of an oncology practice that we worked with that opened 3 new offices during that downturn, and people were amazed. But I'll tell you, there's an old case study during the Depression, Kellogg's and Post, 2 cereal rivals or food rivals, but they were really competing on cereal at the time. When the Depression hit, Post did what was intuitive, and they really pulled back on their advertising and their spending. I mean, money was tight everywhere.
Yeah.
Kellogg's instead doubled down. And the market share that Kellogg's took over Post at that time has never been recaptured. Now, granted, Kellogg's probably had to continue doing a lot of things right over the last 80 years, but they continue to stay out there, be the voice of, be the ears of, and be the supporter of their clientele. And their market share just grew and grew and grew. So marketing isn't just about driving caseload today, tomorrow, and next week. It's about so much more. When we talk about retention, I know you and I talked last time about a Gallup poll that indicated that a satisfied client will often try something new for the sake of something new practice in town, new shiny object, new flyer, whatever. But a loyal client wouldn't think of it. because they already know that you're the solution to their problem before they even have that problem. Like the media clutter doesn't get through to them if they're loyal. So what we try and help our clients, our, practice clients with, is helping them not only build a pipeline of new clients and create really exceptional experiences, but turn those satisfied clients into loyal clients.
Yeah.
Because then you've got this base of raving fans that you can count on to grow the practice.
That'll always do it. That'll always do it. And yeah, it reminds me of conversations I had with another vet partner's buddy, and part of our group is Dr. Joel Parker, and he has a whole series of courses called the Standing Ovation Practice. And he touches on this stuff constantly, as well as like the 3 pieces of your practice, and how by doing the steps and keeping the marketing going, keeping attention going, you're going to be the one that stands out, and you're going to be the one that creates the raving fans and loyal customers at the end. And when we're in a tight spot, and like the Post and Kellogg's example you gave, when the economy's tight and people are having, or you could assume, pulling their flippers in, and the offices that get worried, that cut their spending, well, that actually creates an opportunity at the same time.
Yep.
It creates an opportunity for one of those offices in that community to go, you know what, this is when I'm going to shine, and I'm going to grab massive market share, because the economy is going to come and go and fluctuate forever.
Right.
It always does. So you're going to live through it because you intend to live through it. But why not, be the one that stands out? Because when the economy turns around, I mean, you're going to explode, right?
So, that brings to mind something I touched on during my talk in Las Vegas, and that was the story of the Container Store, the organizational company, and their CEO is very creative. They pay their sales associates double what the typical retail establishment like them pays their staff. And his theory is a great employee really does 3 times the work as someone who just clocks in and clocks out. So if he pays them twice as much, he gets 3 times the work for twice the pay. So what this could mean for a veterinary practice is, if you have a $20 an hour CSR, what if you actually hired someone whose value was $40 an hour? I'm not saying you pay the $20 an hour person. I'm not saying you give them a raise to $40 an hour. It's a different human. It's a different skill set. If you hired someone that has $40 an hour skills, that $20 extra an hour, if they can't make that up during the course of a day, $160, $180, $200 during the course of a day in service, in referrals, in whatever, then they're probably not the right hire. But if you think about it, if you have true concierge people at that front desk, and every single person has an extraordinary experience, what that could do for your business is sky's the limit.
Yeah.
And I'm sure people are saying, but my KPI, the employee cost as a percentage of revenue, give it 90 days. If you have the right people in there, those KPIs will level out where they need to be, because your revenue is going to skyrocket.
A brilliant front office person can make all the difference. All the difference.
And it can't be just one. It's got to be the team, and it's got to be consistently trained. And, they need to have some autonomy to live it out in whatever way is most comfortable for them within the guidelines of the brand and what the brand stands for. But, if one of your clients is having a hard day, give those CSRs the authority to go ahead and, order some flowers for that client and send it off with a message. Nobody should need to go 3 layers up to get authority and a credit card to, have an account set up with the cookie place, the florist, and give your team not just the responsibility for making clients happy, but the authority to do so in the way that they see fit. And not only is the job so much more satisfying then, but boy, your clients walk away saying, that was the most thoughtful thing that they did for me, and I'm going to remember that.
Oh man, 100%. It reminds me of a book. Actually, I had it right here. This book, Unreasonable Hospitality. Will Giadara, he actually was the floor manager for the #1 Michelin restaurant in New York City, which actually my wife and I went to for our 10-year anniversary.
Nice.
Incredible. It was actually the restaurant featured in The Bear TV show. If you've seen it, wonderful, wonderful show. I can't wait for season 5 to come out. In that book, he talks about the restaurants, because the second Michelin star, I think you get awarded based on experience. #1, the #1 Michelin star is food. The second one is experience, and then the third star is some insane like level of beyond. I don't know exactly the way, but when you get your second star, it's because the experience you create. And there was a restaurant in New York City they created when they heard that the kids had never seen snow. So they went out and bought a snow machine, put it in Central Park, and created a mountain of snow so that when they were at the dessert stage of their meal, they actually took the whole family and they drove them to Central Park so that the kids could go and have a snow day.
Wow.
Anyway, so it's I think this kind of book I loved reading, and if you're interested in how to create an unreasonable experience or hospitality, this kind of thing applied to the front area of vet practice. Certainly, we're not doing snow days for people, but there's an application, right?
Absolutely.
Everything we're talking about is how to make your vet practice stand out, get attention, and be the winner, be the leader, especially in times like today,
Right.
when things are tighter, when industry trends are going down, the economy is tighter, and we want you to thrive and grow.
Right. Your business and my business can drive pet owners to your front door, but once you open that door, it's on you to
Yeah.
deliver. So we get them there. It's like you can bring the horse to water, right? You can't
Yeah.
make them drink. So we can get them to the front door. And then from there, it's up to the practice to take care of them in a very unique and special way. You know, I wrote a blog years ago. It was the most popular blog post I have ever written. I fielded phone calls for weeks afterwards. And it was all about my experience with my dog, Maddie, who is long gone. But I visited 5 different specialists with her, spent over $5,000 on diagnostics. And long story short, we ended up choosing not to pursue any specific treatment. And these were practices that I had worked in the building with when I ran the oncology practice. I knew clinically they were exceptional, and I wanted to champion them. And so I did a blog on all the things they did that worked and all the things they did that could have been a lot better. Unfortunately, the second column was much, much longer than the first one. And most pet owners, I think, would have gone through that experience and said, okay, that was fine. Didn't use my name, didn't introduce themselves, didn't tell me what their role was, how they were going to help me. One technician never touched my animal. Picking my dog up from the CT scan, never even used my dog's name. I don't know. I could have been the 2:00 appointment. Well, I don't want to be the 2:00 appointment. I was Maddie's mom. There were so many touch points where they had an opportunity to succeed or fail. And while maybe they didn't fail in all of them, they certainly didn't succeed. They were adequate. And adequate doesn't cut $5,000. It
No,
just
it
doesn't. Adequate doesn't make up for $50. There's no reason for us to be adequate. There's every reason for us to be exceptional. We just have to decide that's what we want to do. We
Yeah.
have to have intention behind it, and then figure out what's it going to take for us to implement those tactics to make sure every person leaves here feeling that way consistently across the board, regardless of who is on staff that day.
100%, 100%. And I want this conversation to keep going. And so if you are seeing this podcast on YouTube, put it in the comments, talk about your experiences, anything that has rung true for you in what me and Robin are talking about. Put it in the comments. Let's keep the conversation going. I'd love to do a follow-up to this.
Because we could probably talk on this for 3 weeks.
We could. And I think it'd be good to get more and more real-time information from clinics and people on the ground, even in different industry roles than us, so that we can keep sharing value back to the industry through this. So
Absolutely.
it's been great to have you.
Oh,
and to
thank
get
you
this time to chat.
for the invitation. We
Yeah,
speak
you're
the same language. So regardless of what coast we live on, we have the same philosophy of care for our clients and how they should care for their clients.
Yes, totally. Well, great. Thank you for joining us today, everybody. And we will look for your comments, and definitely please, like, share, hit that bell so you get, notified if there's new podcasts coming your way. All right. Thank you.